Hi, let us discuss about a class type called bool in Python. Being an object-oriented programming, all the required data types are declared in the form of a class in Python. So first let us discuss about Boolean class. So this we call it as a bool class. So the Boolean class was set to return two values or produce two values or provided two values called true and false. True and false are the two values that can be returned by the Boolean class. So this true and false can be used in many occasions. Even in a digital context, if we use the true represents 1, true logic 1 and the logic is 0. Even in switching applications, the true represents on and represents. So like this, we can make use of the Boolean class for returning the values and also for checking some conditional expressions as well. Okay, now looking into the concept of the Boolean, as we know, it returns true and false values. And the Boolean class, it having a constructor. This type of constructor where there is no argument is passed is called default constructor, where there is no arguments are passed. So for a default constructor, it is set to return a value false. So by default, a Boolean class will return the false value. And next, the Boolean, it is also set to return some value by accepting some argument, which is parameterized structure where it takes an argument. Based on the argument status, it can produce a different value. Okay, so what are the types of arguments could be used here? So the arguments could be a number. So in such cases, if the non-zero value is passed as a value into that argument, non-zero value, then the Boolean class will return a true value. And similarly, if it is zero value is passed into this argument, okay, the number 0 was passed into an argument, then the Boolean will return false value. Okay, and not only that, even the Boolean classes can be used for sequences. There are different types of sequences are there in the Python. We have a tube and also we have a set. Many sequences are for these sequences also.
We can use the bool data type, which will produce the true and false value, depends on the situation. Yes. So for a non-empty sequence means the sequence is filled with some value. For non-empty sequence, it returns true, and for the empty sequences, it returns false. False value can be returned by using this Boolean data type. Okay, and also the Boolean classes can also be used in a control structures. There are many control structures we have now. We have if statements, and there are operator like is operator and is not operator, and also in like that. Many new operators are used in the Boolean class. And in this control structure, when you use this operator, if you want to check the membership, and the control structure would return a value either true or false. Based on that, we can take different branches and we can execute the required statements. Okay. So now let us look into one simple example where how to use the default constructor, parameterized constructor, and how to pass different arguments so that it can produce a correct value. Now, in the line number 2, we have a Boolean default constructor. This default constructor will return a false value, and the non-empty, that is the non-integer, non-zero value will produce a true value for a Boolean class, and the zero value will produce the false value. And similarly, this is a sequence, this is a sequence 896 within bracket, square bracket. It's called a list. So for a sequence, the Boolean will produce. For a non-empty sequence, it produces a value true. And for empty sequences, this is called empty list. For empty sequence, the Boolean class will return a value false. Okay. So that's how when you execute the output, we can able to see for a default constructor, the value false is written, and for a non-integer value, true value is written, and for a zero value, false is written, and for a non-empty sequence, true value is written, and for a empty sequence, false value is written. Even the same Boolean classes can be used to check some conditions in the control structures, and correspondingly that will implicitly produce the value, and based on the control, based on the returned value, we can take either true path or also we can take a false path, like the Boolean, even in a conditional expressions as well. Okay, thank you.